Shri Matre Namaha, Shri Ramaraksha, Sarva Jagadaksha. Before getting into the topic, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you motivate us in bringing out this sacred content to you all. The Genetic Path Cutter Agreement. What is this agreement all about? So, let's dive deep into it. And before getting deeper into it, hit that notification bell so you don't miss an update which might be transformative for you in your own journey. So the genetic path cutter agreement, it's like genetic. Okay, genetic means the families, the genes, the DNA. Okay, it's all coming and it is all connected to your DNA, and that's why it becomes very, 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 very important. So genetic path cutter agreement. So the word itself is saying that you are cutting out the path which, that road or that route which has been taken by your ancestors, which you have got from your ancestral lineage or the ancestral DNA. So let's elaborate more on this. So the genetic path cutters are those starseed twin flame beings or the higher beings or those beings who are in the path of ascension, who have, some of them might have these agreements or most of them have these agreements of breaking that path. It might sound, really, really crazy, but then it's true. You are here to break that path. You are breaking the path of your ancestors, you are breaking that road, you're breaking that pattern. Okay, you are breaking the cycles which are running in your ancestral DNA. So for example, if there are so many Bollywood, Hollywood, Tollywood, I mean not Hollywood, but yeah, so many Bollywood and Tollywood movies on the same concept. There are so many movies because what they can't do in the real life, they'll show that in movies. At least they can see that and enjoy. Okay, that's how the movies work, right? Because most of the humans, they sometimes most of the human desires are not fulfilled, or they are unable to live their life that way. So at least they will see those things in the movies, and then just they'll, at least for those 3 hours, they'll be like, okay, they'll live that their desired life in that movie. So there are so many movies which showcase this, and which there are so many movies which have this kind of a concept. So they are like, this agreement is like, you are here and you are born into a certain lineage or a certain family or a certain ancestry where you are not following those rules of that that lineage or that ancestry, or those patterns of that ancestry for the highest good of all. So everything you do, which you don't follow of all the things which you don't follow of your ancestors doesn't come under genetic path cutter agreement. So if you are thinking that you are doing something rebellious, and if you are not following the rules of your elders, then that doesn't mean that you are cutting that path, or you are have that agreement of genetic path cutter. It doesn't mean that way. The actual every rebellious person doesn't make a genetic path cutter, but the rebellious person, some rebellious person do have those agreements. Okay, so it's like that, and you are sometimes you do something out of the box in that lineage which nobody have done. Okay, that actually means the genetic path cutter agreement. Like you have taken a road which nobody had taken in that ancestry till now. Maybe you are your own ancestors, like for so many generations now, you are again reborn, and now you are just rearranging and reshaping all those things. It might also happen, or you are a starseed who are born in a certain lineage to reshape the the story, and to fix and rearrange the things in that lineage. Okay, which aren't working out, or which are outdated, or which is not serving the highest purpose or highest divine purpose in that lineage. So this is what means the genetic path cutter agreement. So it's like For example, if in a family somebody is having some kind of, some, if some family lineages are very 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 educated, and the person born here, in the next generation, they might want to do something really unconventional, or something which is really out of the box. They are not following the pattern of the family, where they are getting highly educated degrees, or where they are being highly sophisticated, or they want to chill out and they want to do something which is out of the box or unconventional, which none of the previous generations have done. So because they are doing something out of the box, and they because that, of course, the friction happen, and there might be so many troubles in this, because the ancestors, they will be there, and they will be like, they will create so many obstacles in this path. Actually, if you like that or not, but it is the reality and it is the fact. You might be facing so many obstacles from your own family members, whether they know it or not. They don't do it like wantedly, but they act in a subconscious way, because the same thing is running in the family, and you are just breaking that. Okay, if you're breaking something, if you're breaking the routine, then the subconscious and unconscious mind of your ancestors or the family members, they act out, and they become active, and it's like they create more obstacles in your path, because you're choosing a different path for yourself, rather than you're choosing the same path which your ancestors have walked on. Okay, so that's why you might face so many challenges and so many obstacles in becoming the path cutter. Okay, so that's why if those of you who are having these agreements, you will face so many challenges, so many obstacles throughout your life, to figure out yourself first, and then to to break that path and recreate your own path, because it takes a lot of work, to be honest. And not only the family members, but also the ancestors above that. They might be like 12 generations of ancestors, and they might be the ancestors in the spirit world, and they might be the ancestors who are not in the physical form yet, but they also influence you, because you are in that lineage, and you are you have the genes of the lineage, you have the DNA of that lineage. So that also influences you, and it also creates so many obstacles in the path, in making your own path. So it can be it can be in your professional life, or mostly it happens in the professional life, because this is like something you are very doing something really very different. Okay, so it can happen in your relationships, it can happen in your professional life, it can happen in the behavioral patterns also. Some ancestors have like some family members also they have like behavioral routines, like they have family rituals, and this is how the family rituals will happen, or this is how the family traditions are going on, or this is how the family celebrate festivals or the vacations, or this is how the family behaves if something happens, etc etc. There are so many behavioral patterns. So these behavioral patterns also, sometimes you might unconsciously, unknowingly challenge those behavior patterns, and it becomes challenging for you, because you're challenging those behavior patterns. I mean, those of you who have faced it, might understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so because you're challenging those challenges, you're getting more challenges from your own, lineage, or ancestors, or the family members, or from your, from your all the generations, way back up to the 12 generations or 7 generations, or whatever it is, from your maternal DNA and from your paternal DNA. So this is a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's like a lot of things, and it is like too, sometimes it feels too much, but then you have chosen it. You have chosen to be that genetic path cutter, and you have agreed for this, and you have an agreement for this, right? So that's how you are the genetic path cutter agreement. So because you have, if you consciously know about this, then you will feel, okay, sometimes you might not feel like what is happening with you, why all this is happening with you, and you might feel frustrated and in figuring out all of these, whatever you have to figure out in this, in this path. Okay, so once you understand, from this channel, or from anywhere, or once you get the downloads of it, or once you recognize that, oh, this is happening with you, then you will be aware of it, and the burden and the stress, in this path, and in this doing, being that genetic path cutter, will be a little bit lesser. That is also my purpose of telling you out all out about these things, so that I can lessen your burden, I can lessen your stress, because it is really really stressful, and it is so much burdening for for beings who are having these kind of agreements, because you have to change the entire direction. Okay, suppose there is a boat, it is sailing in one direction for so long, and then you suddenly want to change the direction of that boat, and in the midst of the heavy tides, how it feels. Okay, it feels that way. So maybe after incarnating onto the earth, you might feel like, oh god, what is this, so many struggles, so many obstacles, etc., etc. But then before your birth, you have a birth agreement of this, that you will go and you will be born into a certain lineage where you will break those patterns, where you will cleanse the karma of that lineage, and where you will have the genetic path cutter agreement, where you will change the direction and rearrange the things, or the routines, or the patterns, or the behaviors, or the professions, or the relationships of that lineage. So this is what was about the genetic path cutter agreement. So if you have this agreement, then do check on yourself and sit for long hours of meditation, and do check on that if you have this agreement or not. If your higher self says yes, and if you feel resonated with whatever I'm talking about in this video, then most likely you will have this agreement. Okay, so if you have this agreement, the first step is to recognize that what are those behaviors, what are those patterns. You might be doing these things unknowingly, unconsciously. You might be breaking all these patterns, maybe because you are a star seed. Okay, you already do the things even if you recognize it or not, unconsciously. Okay, but then if you recognize it, and if you understand it consciously, then you will feel like, oh, you will get that answer, and you will get the reason that why these things happened, and why you had to go through what you had to go through. When you get the reason, when you get the answer, then the path will be like little bit less burdensome and a little bit less stressful. So that's what I'm here for to make your path a little bit more smoother in whatever way possible. I'm trying my best to do that. So hit that notification bell, subscribe to our channel, and let me know in the comment section below that if you have this how are you making changes in your in breaking this path, in cutting those patterns. Okay, so I'll be very glad to listen to all your comments, and know and understand how you are doing this. Okay, so this is how it happens. And then there are so many movies, and the it's like the Geet in the Jab We Met. Okay, she does something very unconventional, and it was like in all the Bollywood movies, half of the movies it's like हमारे घर में हमारे घर के संस्कार ऐसे नहीं है, वैसे नहीं है, etc., etc. Most of the movies they'll showcase this. Okay, and they will, and the childrens do whatever they want to. Okay, it's like that. Or there is a movie called as Tamasha movie, where he wants to do just be a normal person who is doing some kind of storytelling thing, and he doesn't want to do that 9 to 5 job or act like dignified. He just want to live his life, he want to enjoy his life, and he want to be awaken and activate, and make his inner child feel alive. Okay, so this is one movie, and there are so many other movies. Or it can also be like you are the one who is becoming the ultra educated person, ultra sophisticated person in the family, because nobody in the family have done such things earlier on. Okay, so you are struggling really hard to create a name, fame, or be professionally very good, be very good in your career, because you are trying to break the pattern again, because you are choosing something which is highly professional, or you're choosing something which will give you that high standards. Or it doesn't mean that family members doesn't have those standards. It just means that you want to raise that whatever the family situation is, you want to raise the standards to the next level. Okay, it might be like that also. Or you want to really become very very successful, or you are since your childhood only you're very very ambitious person, and you want to do everything. You want to like be a winner, and you want to create something for you and your family members. So it can be that also. So they might be people, they might be, you might have heard about the interviews about the toppers in so many different exams. Okay, those toppers, there are some toppers will be from a very different background, and they don't even have the financial support, or they don't even have the the things, proper guidance and etc, but they still come out as a toppers, or it's something like that. Or they might be, some things where you are not asked to, they you might have be, you might be having some kind of a multi, talent, you might be a multi-talented person, but you are, you just want to follow the path of the family, and you are just suppressing your talents, or you are not showcasing your talents because your family members or the ancestors have not taken that route, or you are not sure about what will happen if you take that route or that way. Okay, it can also happen that way. So they are different things, okay, in this, and they are different ways and different types in this, and you only have to understand what kind of a category you come into, and what kind of a pattern you are breaking, and what kind of pattern you have to break in your lineage. That's very important, because you might think that you are breaking certain thing, but you never know that what you actually have to do, what you actually have to break, what is the actual real problem, and what is that path which your ancestors have taken, which is actually good, or which is or you have to make or rearrange changes in that path. Okay, sometimes there might be some path where your ancestors have done a very good thing, or a wise thing, or they have taken a very good path, or you or the ancestors, for some 6 generations back or 7 generations back, but you don't really actually know, because the ancestors from from previous generations, maybe they are spiritually very advanced, or but now your family might have lost that that spiritual wisdom and stuff, and now your all that spiritual wisdom has gone, now it's not there anymore. It's just all that wisdom is just sleeping. Okay, so you are the one who is coming into the family, and you are just reawakening that spiritual wisdom, and that advancement, the spiritual advancement. Okay, and you're choosing something, the again something which is actually looks like unconventional, but it might be there in your DNA already, but then it got suppressed, or it got repressed, or it got over the generations, it just people have forgotten about it in your own lineage. So anything can happen this way. So you have to recognize and understand your own patterns, your own DNA patterns, your own lineage patterns, or your own ancestral patterns, and then you have to see what kind of patterns you have to carry forward, and what kind of patterns which is not serving for the highest good of all, and what kind of patterns you have to break, and what kind of actions you have to take to break that pattern. Okay, so this was all about the genetic path cutter agreement, and do check on if you have this agreement or not, and how to check if you have this agreement or not. Okay, you can write affirmations that do I have genetic path cutter agreement? If so, what kind of agreement do I have? Okay, you can repeat this affirmation like for 40 days, 41 days, or 2 months, 3 months. Then your higher self might start guiding you through some intuition, or some kind of a inner wisdom. Suddenly you might get downloads, or it might guide, divine might guide you in your dreams, or your ancestors might guide you in your dreams, visions, or meditations, etc. So first step is thinking about it. Okay, and next step is listening to this again and again, so that sometimes what happens is, if you are listening to something like this, okay, if you are just listening to this video, and suddenly you will get that awakening that oh, you have this kind of pattern, or you might have this kind of agreement, or you might suddenly get an idea which your higher self might give you. Like if you suddenly, this video popped up in front of you, okay, you don't know about anything about this channel, this video popped up in front of you, and you clicked on it. Okay, you are listening. Okay, suddenly you will feel that this is like something awakens within you. Okay, so if that also happens, then it means that you have genetic path cutter agreement. Okay, some kind of inner knowing, some kind of awakening might have happened to you, or if you're ready, then divine will automatically send this video to you. Okay, so it might happen that way. Or suddenly you are listening to this, and something you will get memory of something. Okay, so see what kind of memory you're getting, how you're feeling after listening to this video. So if you're feeling different, and if you're getting some kind of memories or visions, or you're getting some kind of ideas, or you're getting some kind of revelation, okay, so see what kind of revelation is happening within you, and what kind of in that revelation only you will feel like, okay, you have this kind of a agreement, or you have this kind of a you're changing the path. Okay, you're cutting the path of the ancestors in this way. Okay, so you might get visions, or downloads, okay, while listening to this video also. So what will happen is, if you if you feel like listening to this again and again, listen to this once, and then after some days then come back and listen to this again. Okay, so sometimes the things might pop up instantly. Okay, you might awaken like instantly to this fact, and you might get answers instantly. So it can also happen that way. Okay, so do work on this, and you can ask in your meditation also, and you do a lot of ancestral healing also. So after doing a lot of ancestral healing, you will come to know about this. Okay, so I personally did a lot of ancestral healing. So after that, I came to know about this term, and I came to know about this kind of agreement, etc., etc., etc. So what you can do is, you can do a lot of ancestral healing. Start doing your ancestral healing, understand the patterns, what kind of wounds you have, what kind of father wounds you have, what kind of mother wounds you have, what kind of inner child wounds you have. When you start healing all these things, step by step, okay, months by months, months by months, once you will be healed enough, then you will be revealed about these kind of agreements and stuff. Okay, that's also another way of knowing if you have this agreement or not. So this was all about genetic path cutter agreement. So thank you so much for tuning in. Sri Rama Raksha Sarva Jagat Raksha, Sri Matre Namaha.